We're about to pivot the station, the channel back to our usual content. So I hope you guys will roll with me. We've been talking a lot about Sean Combs and his whole debacle and crazy situation, but I want to start getting back to talking to you all a little bit about what this station is about, which is, helping people to move abroad and to travel abroad to stay. So long-term moves internationally is what this is about. So let's see. I hope everyone's having an amazing Friday. Friday, payday Friday for a lot of us, so that's nice. Um, I want to just get and kick off talking about why leaving the U.S. right now, with everything that's going on, may be the best decision you've ever made. My name is Imara. This is Find Your Free. And let's get into it, y'all, because basically right now, as you know, so it's not, interestingly enough, I woke up this morning and I was checking out some of the latest stuff that Diary of a CEO had dropped. The brother who has a huge podcast here on YouTube. And he had on a bunch of experts, intelligence experts. And I think the title of the actual video was that one of the experts who was like involved with the CIA said that by 2026, she was going to be looking to move her family out of the U.S. 2026. It's going to be 2026 in like 5 months. And I was like, wow, I really need to get on here and talk to folks because I already live abroad and help people to move and help people to, shift from, being just very based in the United States to, globalizing their lives. And, I really need to build with people because more people are going to be looking to make these moves and make these shifts right now. Understandably so. One of the experts that was on there was saying that basically we're fully engaged in what they call a kinetic war. So we are, as the United States, as Americans, the government is engaged in World War III, which really kicked off, really kicked off with the whole Russia-Ukraine thing, and has just been growing and building out ever since. So, the Third World War is already popping, it's already happening. And so right now we need to be looking at positioning ourselves. I think that's really important. There's a sister that I watch, her and her family. She has 5 kids, her husband. They live in Mauritius, which is really one of the countries I want to move to eventually, which is in the Indian Ocean, way off of Africa. So way out in the middle of the ocean. And, their lives are good in a lot of ways. Nothing's ever perfect, but at least she's able to position herself with her business where she's able to make money online, not have to be worried about being anybody's employee, and able to do everything on her own time and make an excellent 6-figure living doing that. You know what I mean? And so it's very important right now that people start thinking about what direction they may want to go, whether it's to Africa, which those experts that I was just telling you about that were on Diary of a CEO literally were saying that Africa is like the new frontier, that the rest of the world is going to be so wrapped up in war and all kinds of insanity that certain countries in Africa are going to be the ones that you'll be looking to over the next years to go because they are stable in terms of food security, certain ones, not all of them. They have the ability to feed the world, basically. And that Africa is looking really, really like a good kind of trajectory and movement for a lot of people, especially a lot of brown people have always been drawn to the continent, for what, some folks from the United States feel like their ancestry comes directly from Africa. I don't go along with that. I know my ancestors are from Turtle Island, from the United States, but I definitely, understand the thinking. So all I'm saying is right now, folks need to be thinking about where they might go if things get any weirder than they already are. Okay? And that's all I'm saying right now. So, if you're thinking about, for instance, South America, where in South America, what countries, start to think about, what your non-negotiables are for a place and where you want to live and what it would have to, the feel and the energy of the place would have to be for you to feel comfortable there for a long time and a long term, right? So thinking about that. Also, really considering, if you have a family, for instance, what you're going to need in place, whether it is, good schools, a certain type of community, considering the things that your family are going to need, especially if you have children, especially small children, but I mean older children too, because I have older children and, sometimes it gets really challenging. I'd say actually it's probably more challenging to satisfy the needs of older children because they are, more, they need it, things that have to be more curated. I mean, they like what they like. They want to do what they want to do. They need their education to be at a certain level. And so really and truly, older children are even more challenging to travel with. And so you're going to have to be thinking about all of that. All of that. I'm in a beautiful grocery store by my house right now. So good. You're going to be thinking about all of that when you're making your decisions about where to go, and how to flow on this international journey. What else? I mean, there's so much to consider. If you're a single person and you want to date, you want to eventually potentially meet someone, you think you want to be a married person eventually or whatever, you need to be considering, what that would look like for you. For instance, I live in Brazil. Brazil is notoriously difficult for dating, and it's especially difficult for dating, I think, and that's not something I look to do, but it's especially difficult for dating for, Olá, bom dia, desculpa, for acredito, for, people who are outsiders. I mean, Brazilians are pretty insular. They like, their own, from what I can tell, understandably so, right? So it's not like they're going to just go off and want to like super date a foreign person like that. So if you're a single person and you're hoping to meet a partner, oh, what do you got? No, to the bank. Brazil might not be a good choice for you. The dating scene is not one to be envied. And that is from, many, especially sisters that I've talked to. Even though I do, for instance, have one sister friend who has been lucky and, has met a life partner here that she's getting ready to marry. So it's not 100%, but I'm just saying, sorry, I'm almost done with all this shaking. When you are considering a move and considering positioning yourself better globally so that you're not stuck in America with all of the extra drama, then you definitely need to be, I know what we can do. I'm gonna put on my, what are those things called that you hold the camera up with? I'm about to put that on. But yeah, sorry about this. This is a hot mess, but I was trying to make a video before I start work because unfortunately I still work for folks and have contracts and things I have to do. So I don't have a lot of time to do videos all the time, but I want to keep YouTube going and I want to offer my services too to people because I have for years been on this international circuit with my children, just trying to get a respite or a break or even do long-term moves away from America because I just never liked it. I never felt it. And so as of right now, me and my children have lived in, I would say, over 15 different countries, islands on the planet, lived in. So I'm not talking about travel to. We've traveled to more places than that. But lived on, a lot of islands and in a lot of places. And we choose to do that because I always had the foresight that, with the level of manipulation and instability of the American government, that things were going to get progressively weirder in the United States. And that is exactly what has happened. And I think we know now with the very odd person that is basically strategically tearing down the entire fabric of the United States, which was already questionable. Now with that person who's supposed to be the leader of the nation, tearing it to shreds, gutting it from the inside out. Folks need to be making a plan B and a C. It's time to be looking at other options. All of that sitting around hoping things are going to get better and being super loyal to a particular nation and all that. It's okay, you know, like my ancestors are from the U.S. Like I definitely will forever have all love in my heart for that country and for that place and for certain locations on that land. But that doesn't mean that I can't secure my family in war times, you know, and go to a place that is, you know, more secure, allows for more peace, you know, and allows for me to feel safer, like a safe haven. So these are all the things that I really suggest people start to think about. I really think it's a good idea and a necessary thing to be considering, you know, where you would want to shift to as things continue to get stranger and stranger in the United States. And what I want to do on here is go ahead and do a Q&A right now, and then I'm going to do a special video where I'm seated and still and quiet, and we can really get into Q&A about not only just living in Brazil, but living and moving abroad and what it takes to do that, and you know, some of the important things that you need to consider and the pitfalls and the challenges of it. Okay, because there are a lot of challenges that come with shifting, you know, your center of stability, right? I think we all know that's never an easy thing to do. Me and my children we're from the States, but we were based in the Virgin Islands mostly for the last, over the last 10 years. So we wouldn't stay there all the time. We would leave the island sometime and go do other things, and go be in other places. But our kind of baseline was we mostly lived in the Virgin Islands. And then there were times I lived, like over those 10 years, I lived on Puerto Rico for a year, which is like the sister island to St. Croix where we were. I lived in Jamaica for several months, you know, and then we started coming back and forth to Brazil. And that was a whole nother ball game. I had already lived in Brazil 20 something years ago, but I had already lived in Brazil 20 something years ago. So it wasn't like my first rodeo, but it was my first time coming during the pandemic to Brazil with my children. And that's a whole nother thing, because Brazil is not the easiest place to transition to, especially with a family. So that was a whole nother ball game, you know, transitioning to Brazil. It's me, and I cannot find my key again. Thank you, boo. So, okay, you got to do it again. I don't know. So, yeah, so trying to get into my house and constantly looking for my keys lately. It's pretty bad. But, yeah, so basically, we came here during the pandemic to escape some of the insanity of the pandemic and all of the crap that was going on and all of the gaslighting and mind control stuff that they were implementing at that time. And it was good because we went up north, and up north was very peaceful. People weren't running around scared they were going to die from COVID at the time. Everybody was just chilling. Now, while we were there, you know, the brainwashing campaign set in real heavy, and everyone started to go in. They didn't even really, Bahia didn't even really respond to the pandemic thing. But at the rest of Brazil, went and got vaccinated really quickly and fell into all of that. But saying all that to say is that, you know, Brazil is a chill place, not easy to transition to. So, you know, people will probably need support around that if they were deciding to come in this direction. And so those are some of the things that we offer. You know, it's just support to people who want to transition, people who want to move, they want to try something different. And after I seen, you know, those experts on Diary of a CEO just talking about like how they're moving their own families, they're putting their money where their mouth is and getting their own families out of America within the next months, really. So they feel like things are ramping up that quickly that people are going to have to really start considering where in the world they want to be. I know a lot of people say New Zealand and off in that area is also a very good isolated area of the world to be for longevity. So that's something else to consider. But yeah, I do think everyone should get it on their things to do, on their list of things to do, to start to figure out, where they want to shift to as things continue to disintegrate, right? So it's something to think about. Is anyone in here? How y'all doing today? I think I'm about to get ready to make me some food. How y'all doing? I just had some like delicious gluten-free bread, fresh baked bread delivered to my house just now. I'm so grateful. We have, here in Sao Paulo, a lot of amenities and a lot of things that we can access. And then it's like the cost of living is so cheap, so it ends up being a really just great overall experience where you can live without breaking the bank, even though it's not like super, super cheap in Sao Paulo itself, but Brazil in general is just like so affordable and such a high quality of living. So I love that about it. Is anyone in here now? If not, I'm gonna wrap this up and I'm gonna come on when I can sit down and focus. I just wanted to do a quick talk about that video and the fact that, you know, right now is just a really pertinent, it's really important that folks really hone in on what they want to do and pay attention and learn a little bit about what's happening globally, so you can kind of have some direction on what direction to go in terms of solidifying and finding safe space for yourself and for your family. So yeah, hit me up. I'm gonna put all my info below. If you want to book a session with me, we have paid sessions, and then I can also do just short 20-minute sessions where we kind of see where you're at with things and what you need. And we'll go from there. I'm also going to put my email list link below here in a few minutes, okay? Hope y'all are doing amazing. Bye.